Hey everyone, I'm Terri Britt. We're getting ready to start our Women Leaders of Love Own Your Worth Wednesdays. And I'm letting some people in the room right now. We are going to be talking about dealing with the holidays. Hi, Anne. I see you're here, and some Jane's here as well. So for those of you who were wondering about not showing everything like your name and everything, you can actually change your name when you sign in if you want to be anonymous. I know we get very deep in these calls. So, I understand if you want to do that. We sent it in the email for those of you who are on the Zoom call. Let me go ahead and start the record button. So would you guys give me some feedback if you can see this? I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting set up on this recording today. Not the recording, but the actual technical aspect. It's not wanting to connect to my hotspot. And so because of that, I'm not sure if you're going to even be able to see me and if this is going to make sense. So those Anne and Jane who are already in our Zoom chat room, can you hear me okay? Am I warbled? Is it clear? Can you just write, is it clear or is it warbled? That would be great. Warbled, is that a word? Yay, I'm clear. Okay, yay. I see Jen just came in, my assistant. She came in. Jen, do I look okay to you too? Because I could not get set up on Instagram, and I don't know if this is feeding to our live streams because my hotspot did not want to connect today. I just got back from Honduras, and my body must be saying, no, you're not ready to get back into the groove yet. You're wanting to go place a little bit longer, but this is playtime, so I'm having to have a conversation with my body and my being right now. Okay, so it says that everything looks fine. So if you're new here, let me let some people in. Okay, so if you're new here, this is our Women Leaders of Love Own Your Worth Wednesdays, and we're all about loving ourselves more because love, unconditional love for yourself, is what you have to do to really own your worth. When we're looking for everyone else to love us, we are saying, I'm not worthy of being loved unless I perform for you, unless I get your approval. So it's really not love at all. It's more a performance-based approval. So our goal is to get out of that mindset and to really own our worth and who we are, loving ourselves unconditionally, because when you love yourself unconditionally, you move into a high state of worthiness. I call it your worthiness quotient. And when you're in this high state of worthiness, you are in a vibration that attracts a high vibration. So low vibrations attract a low vibration, high vibrations attract a high vibration. So if you are loving yourself, which unconditional love is the key to everything you want in your life, if you are loving yourself, then you're going to create the life you want. Okay, it's when you're denying yourself and when you're performing that life feels hard because you're attracting things that mirror this energy to you. So we're getting out of that. That's what these Own Your Worth Wednesdays are all about. And as Women Leaders of Love, we are committed to taking a stand for loving ourselves so we can be that example for the ones we care about, our families, our friends, our coworkers, our communities. So I just want to say thank you. And for those of you who are new, also what I was saying earlier, and I don't know if it was on the recording, if you want to be on this call, but you're like, yeah, I don't really want the whole world to know my story, you can actually change your name when you sign in to the Zoom call. And you can just say anonymous. You can write a word down that you find that you want to be called. You can say, hey, sunshine, come and talk to us. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. And you can actually turn your camera off so you can ask your questions and we can be here in this space together. And you can have the healing you want and still keep it private if you want. I'm one of these people. My husband says there's nothing that I hold back. I mean, anything. I'm going to say it because I just feel so free in doing that. And that for me, whether it's telling my dirt, whatever it is, that feels good to me. But it didn't used to be that way. So it took me a while to get to this place. And if you're not ready to let the world see everything about you, that's okay. It's okay. You're just being courageous by being here. So thank you for that. So this week, we're going to be talking about, I wanted to get into the mindset of dealing with the holiday stress. We started talking about that last week. And it feels like it's been weeks ago because I've been in Honduras all weekend and had the blast celebrating a friend's birthday. And I held a sloth, had a monkey sit on my shoulder. We went to a sanctuary, rode ATVs, went snorkeling, went dancing. I mean, we just had a lot of fun. It feels like it's been a month since I've been here. But I wanted to get into the mindset this week and next week of really welcoming the holidays with a state of peace and joy. But it's hard to do that sometimes because we get so caught up in, I need to do this, I've got to get this done, I need to buy the perfect present for a loved one. And I don't know what your religious holiday is, if you even practice, but the things that we're going to talk about are relevant to everyday life. Am I performing? Am I trying to get it right? But specifically, what creates a lot of stress in the holidays is we get this perfect picture in our mindset of how it's supposed to look. Okay, can you relate? How it's supposed to look. And that picture can be something that we've taken on since childhood. It can be society, right? I mean, there's so much emphasis on the holiday presents and you look at Hallmark and everything's so perfect, right? And I love it. I love getting my holiday stuff up. I celebrate Christmas, have all my Christmas gear up, everything. I mean, it is done to the hilt down in my main home. I'm in my office right now, but I love that, but I do it because I love that feeling of the holidays. And my husband and I always laugh because when we take down the decorations, we feel like, oh my gosh, where'd all the color go? Because our home is kind of neutral. It's like, where did it go? We need to put color in. Let's leave it up year round. I mean, that's our attitude, right? Because we love it. We absolutely love it. And, so we do it for us, but we also do it because we want the kids to come in and enjoy it. Now, I know for a fact that my kids could care less if it's done perfectly. They love it when they come, but they could care less. I mean, I even see their homes and how they decorate. They do minimalist. They're very much into the minimalist attitude, where I'm like everything, right? But I'm doing that because we enjoy it. So you have to ask yourself, am I putting a lot of pressure on myself, right? And if I am putting pressure on myself, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Whether it's pressure of having the perfect meal, if it's buying the perfect presents, if it's thinking you have to spend so much money. I mean, I can relate to all of this stuff because we all get caught in this trap. The question is that if you start getting caught in the trap, are you taking yourself out of it? Are you letting yourself go into a downward spiral? Are you going into a rabbit hole and now you're feeling more and more stress? I think it's easy to get caught in it and get kind of sucked in. The key is to not let it take you into that rabbit hole. Is to say, oh, okay, I'm buying into this. I'm getting caught up in my perfect pictures. I love that word, perfect pictures, because it just describes it perfectly, right? And am I getting caught up in that so I can back off? Right? Because the holidays are about being joyful. The holidays are about celebrating and being with each other. And if you're, whatever your religion is, celebrating for my family, it's Christ, and in Christmas. So whatever yours is, it's about that for us. But it's about being together as a family. I don't know about you, but over the years, I know I've done this, and I've seen other people do it. Watch my relatives do it growing up. When we have those perfect pictures, you're not usually that joyful person. You're not helping create the memory that you want. You are creating a stressful situation. And I know you don't want that, right? You don't want to be that person. You want to be the change for your family. You don't want to perpetuate that cycle. So for us as women, leaders of love, we have to say, well, how do I do it differently? Okay, how do I do it differently? So today I want to look at what is your perfect picture for the holiday, and why is that? Why have you bought into that? Okay, because we all have it in some way, shape, or form, and maybe yours is that you don't have a perfect picture because you feel like, well, it's never going to be good. And so then you find yourself getting, buried in that kind of energy. So that perfect picture, even though you may not be living by it, it still creates havoc in your mind. So our goal is to look at today, what is the perfect picture in your mind that's creating havoc? Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So I want to invite you right now, if you're here, to turn everything off to turn off your phone, whatever it is you need to turn off so you can go into this meditation and really give yourself permission to dive into this, because by doing so and recognizing it, okay, so it's awareness is like 95% of the game, right? So by recognizing it, you can watch yourself going through the holiday and say to yourself, is this a perfect picture? Have I created a standard in my mind that is really not in my heart? That's really not who I am, and it's creating havoc in my mindset. It's making me feel sad or angry, depressed, frustrated, maybe blaming other people because you feel like you're having to do everything. This is what we do with perfect pictures, is we feel like we have to do everything, we have to get it done, we have to get it right, and then we get mad at others because they're not living by the same perfect picture. Can you relate to that? Oh my goodness. This is how it happens in marriages too, right? And just relationships in general. One person has these perfect pictures in their mindset and the other one doesn't. And then they're like, why are you not doing it to my standard? Right. And it's really because you're the one who has the perfect picture and they don't. They have a little bit more forgiveness and compassion for themselves. They don't live by this these rules in their minds like you do, or they may just have them in other areas, maybe not in the same place you do. So let's do this. Is everyone cool with that? If you have any issues in seeing me, please let me know, because as I said, I was having some issues today getting on with my hotspot. It's not working for some reason, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see this clearly or not. If you don't, if you aren't able to see it, just write me a message in the chat, and I don't know what we'll do about it. We'll just kind of wing it and ask for the guides to help us. So something in my eye. So let's do this. Let's go into a meditation and look at what is your perfect picture, and let's clean it up. Because what I know for sure is that you deserve better than this. Okay, you deserve better than having this havoc and this stress. And so does your family, so do your friends, the people that are around you. It's kind of like, I think of getting ready for the holidays as like the bridezilla, right? It's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be done right. And then the bridezilla is known as the bridezilla. It's that same kind of idea. So let's do this. So I want to invite you to take a breath and close your eyes as you're breathing in through your nose, and then hold it for a second and release very slowly through your mouth. We're going to do that again, breathing in, hold it, and release very slowly through your mouth. So as you sit in this space, I want to invite you to allow the light of peace to come into the crown of your head, visualizing the crown of your head opening up. And we're inviting that energy of peace, allowing it to fill up the top of your head into your face, really relaxing around your temples, in the inner part of you, the center part of your head. Allow that energy to come all the way in to your face, into your neck, and your shoulders. As you breathe, relaxing your shoulders, allowing that energy to now go down your arms and out your hands. We're continuing with this peace energy as it's continuing to flow through your face and your shoulders and down your arms and out your hands. We're going to go down from the shoulders into the chest. Breathing into this. And now moving down into your tummy. All the way down into the base of your spine area, the hips. This is your first chakra area, moving down in there. And then moving down your legs. And into your feet. Getting really connected to this peace energy. You can even say to yourself, I give myself permission to receive this peace. As that energy continues to flood down your legs, let it go out your feet. Let it pour in to your aura, the energy field around you. Letting that energy extend out beyond your arms, all the way around you like you're sitting in an egg of energy, allowing that peace energy to flood in. And all the way down to the bottom of your aura, and even on the outside. We always want to watch the outside. And then imagine the bottom of the aura opening up and allowing that peace energy now to go down the column of light that's connected. This is your grounding cord, sending all the energy that's not yours, that's kept you in a state of emotional chaos, worry, anxiety, stress, letting that energy flood out right now. Really getting connected to the peace, the energy of peace. Breathing into this. Feels really good, doesn't it? Now, I want to invite you to call in your inner child, that little 5-year-old that is inside of you. And imagine bringing this little kid up on your lap. Tell her you love her, that you're glad she's here. Even if you can't see her, it might be a more of a feeling or a sensation or a knowingness, or maybe even you're more clairaudient where you hear. But just know that she's sitting on your lap. And now ask her, am I holding you to some perfect pictures right now during this crazy, stressful holiday season? Am I holding you to some perfect pictures? Even just one, am I doing that? And you might hear yes or no. You might see a nodding. If you see that she's not doing anything, you can give her permission to tell you the truth. And if you find yourself grasping, remember to open up your crown. This is how we stay in a receptive, intuitive state. We breathe into this. So, are you holding her to some perfect pictures? And now ask her, if you aren't already aware of what it is, ask her, what is it? What is the perfect picture that is affecting you right now? And she might show you a picture in your mind. Again, you may hear a word, you may see a word, you may have a symbol. So play detective right here. What is the perfect picture? And if you feel like, oh wow, there's more than one, say what's the main one right now, and you can always come back and listen to this again. What is the main perfect picture? And what is the fear? Now ask this question. What is the fear that this little kid inside of you has if you don't meet that perfect picture? What is the fear she has if she doesn't meet that perfect picture. And where did she take on this fear? And for if you're a guy listening, this is for you to talk to that little boy inside of you. But where did you take on that fear? Was this from watching the people around you? Was this something that you made a decision about as a little kid? So ask that child inside of you, where did you take on this fear? Because maybe it's not even your fear. Maybe you watched your mom do this and you took this on and made it your own. Maybe it was your dad. Maybe it was an aunt or a grandma. Maybe it's society. Where did you take on this fear? Now imagine that wherever you took this from, was it a decision you made? Was it somebody you watched do this? Was it society? If there's someone outside of yourself, I want you to imagine that person, or if it's society, you can even just say a sign that says society, play with this, do whatever feels right to you. But I want you to imagine a big basket, and you can see like a big wicker basket that has a lid. Take the lid off, and I want you to imagine that you put everyone else's energy. Even if you're not sure, you can just put a basket there and say, I'm not sure where I took this from, but I'm just going to put all this energy in this basket. Put everything in that basket. As you do this, breathe and say to yourself, say to that little kid inside of you, I give you permission to release this perfect picture energy. Put all that energy in those baskets. Maybe you're seeing that you try to do everything for your kids because you believe that this will make them feel loved. But we all know that love doesn't come from around you, it comes from within. So if this is what you're trying to create, then you can let that go. Put everything in that basket. And now I want you to imagine that you're even going down into your grounding, under your feet, maybe even down to the center of the earth if you feel you want to go that deep, and see what's there. Like, are you, this is kind of a weird picture, but I always get snakes if there's guilt. Like if I don't do it well, I'm going to feel guilty. It was my responsibility to make everyone okay and happy for the holidays. So release that energy. I put those snakes in the basket. You might see it as something else, but this is the way I've always seen guilt. It's just those snakes that are, it's like a bed of snakes. So move that in to the basket. And let's go even further down underneath where that energy was of guilt, and see if there's something else under there. Is there something that you're wanting to see, that your spirit's wanting you to see? Is it something really neat, or is there something still dark that's there? Kind of go in there and see what's there for yourself. See if you have an aha of some kind. Whatever you see, if it's something dark, put it in the basket. If it's something really positive, then put it out to the side and look at it over here. Put it on the opposite side and say, wow, okay, I want to just hold this right here. So when you feel that basket is full, and you might even just check with your energy to see if there's anything else around you that you're ready to release about these perfect pictures. And that basket is full. Imagine whoever it belonged to, if there was any energy that you took this on from, you can just imagine them taking this basket and moving up into a white light. We're just going to transmute the energy. If you see the basket and there's not anyone there, you can imagine that an angel comes and picks it up and takes it into the white light and transmutes the energy. Now I want to invite you to bring in the energy of forgiveness, just calling it from the highest points of the universe. Because when we live with perfect pictures, we're not forgiving ourselves. So let's bring in the energy of forgiveness right now, letting it move through your whole body, filling you up. Wherever you released energy, we definitely want to fill that space up. So filling it up all the way to your toes and your fingertips, all the way around you. Breathing into this. So let's take this to the next step. You're releasing your perfect pictures. Now ask yourself, what would forgiveness look like? In other words, what would being kind and gentle to yourself look like? So you saw where maybe you were holding your perfect pictures. Hopefully you saw that. And if you were to look at that same energy now and say, okay, how could I do this in a loving, kind, and gentle way towards myself? What would that look like? This is an act of forgiveness. So you can ask your inner child that, what would that look like? What would that look like? Maybe it's feeling like you've had to do everything by yourself and you've got a holiday party coming up and you're in charge of a lot of stuff. Maybe an act of forgiveness would be to let go of the controls a little bit and ask for help, to trust that even if it's not perfect, that people are still going to have a great time and they're still going to love you. They're still going to appreciate you. So, what would an act of forgiveness look like? Now, imagine that you've done that already and it feels so good. You're in such a state of peace. I want you to imagine that you walked through this in that way. You walked through whatever's your perfect picture is, and you've done it differently this time. You've done it with an act of forgiveness for yourself. And see how that forgiveness brings you joy, how it puts you in a state of being present and really embracing the moment. Okay, so I want you to feel that energy of going, yes, 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 yes. I give myself permission to walk in this energy of forgiveness. Breathing through this and imagine that you're turning up the volume of this energy, just saying yes, 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 yes. Looking at your inner child and saying, I give you permission to be in this energy of forgiveness. Breathing into this, feeling it permeate every cell of your body, moving into your aura as well, and all the way down through your grounding, so that you are completely centered in forgiveness. Breathing into this. And when you're ready, you can come back into this space. That energy was really beautiful. I could just feel it moving through me, and I hope you felt the same thing. It's interesting because when we are living in our perfect pictures, we truly are not forgiving ourselves for who we are and the way we were created. We're putting ourselves at a standard that we think we should be meeting. And then because we're always striving for that standard, that's what creates emotional chaos, right? Because we're living from these beliefs that say, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And what might be one standard you think is needed for one person could be different for another person. And so that even creates more dissension inside your being. So when you say no more perfect pictures, my act of love through the holidays is to release those perfect pictures and to be in a state of forgiveness. That forgiveness is what leads you to joy. And that's what we truly want, right? We want to be in a state of joy, but you've got to be in that space of going, okay, I'm in my perfect pictures. How do I love myself now? How do I be in that state of forgiveness so that I release this? So that's what I want to invite you to do through the holidays, because again, whether it's shopping, being at a party, we have so many festivities just in the next week for my hubby and me. We just at our company alone, we have 3. Two of them are for the public, but one of them is for our own little, our group for our coffee company. And, it's a lot. It can really bear down. And then there's a birthday party and there's a parade and there's all these stuff in our local community, and it can add up. So, the key is to say, okay, do I have to be there at a certain time, or can I go when it feels right to me? Those are acts of forgiveness. When you're looking at buying holiday gifts and you say, I'm not going to get this, I'm not going to spend that amount of money because that's creating stress for myself. I'm going to love myself and bring the number down. That's an act of forgiveness. Okay. If you have this vision about for instance, if you practice Christmas and you've got this vision of all the presents you want to put under the tree and you can't, then you say, well, what rings true for me? That's an act of forgiveness when you act upon it. Okay, that's an act of self-love, but it's an act of forgiveness of not meeting those perfect pictures. So I want to invite you as you walk through the holiday season, go into awareness of, oh, that's a perfect picture I'm living by. What would an act of forgiveness do? What would love do? Because love is an act of forgiveness. Loving yourself for not meeting those standards is an act of forgiveness. So that you want to kind of balance it out that way. And what will be interesting to see is that you'll recognize the times when there's a tug of war, and you'll say, oh, okay, I'm really over here in my perfect pictures. And you recognize and you recognize that what the act of forgiveness would be, but you're having a hard time going there. Okay. Then you have to ask yourself, what is my fear? Like we did early in the meditation, what is my fear? If I choose this act of forgiveness for myself and love myself, what is my fear in? And it usually goes back to, well, everything's going to fall apart, or, there's something bad that's going to happen. But the ultimate fear is, I'm going to be rejected. I'm not going to be loved. The ultimate fear after that is, I'm going to be alone. Well, as you love that little kid inside of you, you're healing your aloneness. Okay. You're owning your worth. You're treating yourself as if you matter. So just recognize that that is the fear that is at the very bottom of everything, is I'm going to be alone. And if you've probably heard this before, if you've been doing any inner work for a while, that the old tribal consciousness is that if you were alone, you died. That was the old tribe mentality that's been handed down through the generations, but we're not in that way. We're not in that state anymore. So just recognize that when you're going into those fears and that mindset, those perfect picture mindset, your real fear is that you don't want to be alone. So recognize that and then turn around and pick up that little kid inside of you. When you pick her up and you love her and you acknowledge her, you heal the aloneness. You become the divine mother to her. You create a connection and you get present. That's, as I said over and over, is where the joy is. So just recognize that that is our greatest fears. We don't want to be alone because we don't feel safe in our aloneness. So the more you can be alone, the more you create that safety within, that love within, and you let go of those perfect pictures in every area of your life. So with that, I'm going to open up for any questions, any ahas. I'm actually not going to call on anyone today. I really want you to think about if you want to ask a question. If you do, you can raise your hand. For those of you who are on Facebook or LinkedIn, we didn't get to go on Instagram today because it wouldn't set up with the hotspot. If you want to be in the Zoom call so that you can ask questions, if you're like, I want to raise my hand, I want to raise my hand, I want to raise my hand, and you feel like you can't because I don't answer questions over there until after the event, and you want to be on the Zoom call, you can get my free Women Leaders of Love Worthiness Quotient Breakthrough Bundle at terribritt.com/leaders. And when you get that, you'll get the Zoom link from now on and be able to join us here. I'm typing this in here. I know everybody here on the Zoom call are already getting the emails, but you'll get the link in your email. But for anyone else, it's terribritt.com/leaders. So if you want to raise your hand, or if you're having a hard time raising your hand, sometimes Zoom works for people and sometimes it doesn't. There's a little icon, I know from the computer looking down, and it says reactions. And then you click on it and it says raise your hand. You can raise your hand. Or if you're trying to and it's not working, just unmute yourself and say, hey, Terri, I want to talk, because there's just a few of you on today. So does anyone want to ask a question or share or have a comment? And it can be something that is not pertaining to today. If you have something like you're working with in your life and you're like, I could really use some support right now, this is your opportunity. So I'm going to just give this a few seconds, and then if no one jumps in, then we're going to call it a day, because I really want you to want to ask your question, because it takes great courage to speak up and raise your question. Oh, there's Jane. Hey, Jane, how are you? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Hi, Jane. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Good.
I have a question which is not related to the meditation. It's more about like finding my own place in life.
Okay. So why don't you explain that a little further of what you're feeling?
It's like I feel I am stuck and I'm not moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And why do you feel you're stuck?
Because it's like yeah, I would like to be somewhere, but it's like not moving forward.
Okay. So so is it a particular, like a goal that you have in mind and you're not getting there? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, good. So if you have a goal in mind and you're not feeling like you're making headway, so what I would be doing, one is I'd be running energy daily, because that one shakes up the energy. So I don't know if you're doing that, but as we get grounded every day, or in these sessions, we get grounded and run the energy. That starts breaking up the blocks that are there. And then what I'm getting a sense of, though, there's something about not feeling safe. When I see your inner child, and I don't even know what you look like, but I'm asking, what your inner child to show herself. She has tape over her mouth, and she feels like her hands are tied to me. Okay. So that's the stuck energy. Would that make sense? Does that kind of describe how you're feeling in a way that
Yes.
oh, I'm not being heard. I can't move forward. I'm bound tight. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the tape off of her mouth and I'm gonna ask her what's going on. Okay. And this is something you can do. So I always get visuals. I'm a clairvoyant, but we all have the ability to get visuals. If you can visualize your best friend, your child, your partner, you can get visuals. Okay. But so I get a visual. So when I take the tape off of her mouth, I see all this gook coming out of her mouth. So I'm going to look at that for a second. Okay. Because it's almost like mud.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask her what that is. I'm going to bring that out. It literally, this is very weird. It feels like mud. That's probably the stuck energy you're feeling. And it just is like coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. So we're going to ask her to just move that out. The next thing I see is underneath the mud, the stuck energy is anger. And she's angry. She feels like, what is she? I don't want to put words into her mouth. Let me ask her. She feels like no one's hearing her. Would that be true?
Uh, but I don't know about what.
Okay. So should I ask that?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you feeling no one is hearing you about? She's mad at you.
Okay.
And she feels that you're not hearing her. She's like, you're the one who's keeping her bound up.
Okay.
It feels like when I look here, I look in the background. Okay. There's some programming in the past that that has got her bound up, that feels like I can't be seen, I can't put my voice out there, I can't be, I can't, I'm like stifled, which you described it perfectly. So your intuition is right on the nose. So what is the programming? I'm asking her, what is the programming? Oh, she's really angry. Do you give yourself permission to express your anger in a healthy way? Or do you even know that you're angry or that she's angry?
I don't know that she's angry. No, I don't know.
Do you feel angry? Or do you feel like you're just kind of like it's like kind of flatlined?
Now I'm not angry, so I don't feel angry.
I don't mean right now. It's like buried. Okay. I don't mean like you're walking around angry. It's like this stuff that's stuffed down here.
Sometimes it's coming up, yes, but I don't know why.
Okay, good. So can you give me a moment when when you're angry that you can remember that it's still there in your mind? Do you mind sharing that?
Maybe when there is an injustice, a situation of injustice, so I feel angry.
Okay, good. So you feel like someone's being treated poorly.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. When have you felt that you were treated poorly as a child?
This I know, but I thought this was resolved and because there was a separation.
No, it's not resolved. So there's just maybe a part that you haven't seen yet. So tell
Okay.
me that. Tell me that, okay?
It's I was separated from my parents.
Oh, and why was that?
Yeah, because they thought it's the best solution.
Okay, and how old were you?
I was about 5, 6.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to ask her about that and just see what I get from that, okay?
Yes.
So what I'm seeing is at that age, at 5 or 6, I keep looking down because I'm visualizing her right here. So you guys just know that I'm not ignoring, I'm turning away from the camera. I literally visualize her sitting here in front of me. Um, so what I'm getting is at that age of 5 or 6, when you were separated, there was a sense of abandonment. Okay.
Yes.
You felt abandoned,
Yes.
right? And so I want you to do this with me, and I want you to get this answer rather than me. I want you to imagine little Jane sitting in front of you, the little 5-year-old. And I want you to ask her, what is the belief about herself? Like, what did she feel was wrong with her to be abandoned?
I think she felt not good enough.
Okay, so she felt not good enough. So I want you to take it a little bit further. So, acknowledge her. I really see that you didn't feel good enough, but what was it about you that was not enough? Let's go, I want to take it a little bit deeper. I want to see what she feels, what was not enough.
This it's it's hard for me. I don't know.
That's okay. So I want you to try it one more time. And if you can't get it, I'll look. I'm trying to help you so that you can learn to do this for yourself, because that's the whole
Yeah.
point during these calls, right? Is to help you get it as much as you can. So I want you to take a breath. I want you to visualize opening up your crown, which opens us up to our higher self so that we get more into a receptive state. So you're breathing into this. And you can even say to little Jane, you can say to her, I get this is scary and this is uncomfortable. And you don't have to tell me anything, but I want to help. So now you've met her with compassion. So ask her again, what is it that was not good enough inside of you? Was there something that she had done that she felt was bad? Was it just something inside of her that felt like it was bad? So I want you to just play with that for a second and see what she says.
I'm not sure. Like it's about her. Maybe it's about the parents.
Okay, so tell me what you're getting. That's good.
It's not understanding why it happened.
So she didn't understand why it happened. Is what
Yes.
you're saying? Exactly. So a lot of times when when parents, when there's a divorce, when there's a child is taken from parents or whatever, the child will take on the belief that I'm the problem. Okay, so that feels like what is what happened as a child. You as an adult understand right now that she didn't understand what was going on because of the parents didn't explain it, right? It wasn't explained to her.
Yeah.
And so we understand that as the adult. The key is to get into the mind of the child, and you can do it through saying, I feel or I felt. So she says, I felt I wasn't good enough. Okay, that I wasn't good enough for them to want to stay with me or to be able to stay with it. And we know that's not the truth, right? This is
Yes.
your parents' crap. This
Yeah.
has nothing to do with you. But in that child's mind at that time, she took on a belief about herself or made a decision about herself that now keeps you stuck in life. And you don't know what that decision is. Okay.
Yeah.
So was it a decision that I'm not good enough to be loved? Was it something as simple as that? And what made her not good enough? Is it just that she took on the belief because your parents aren't there, that there's something wrong with me. And what's so cool about this is that if you can't find anything that was wrong with you, think about this, okay? I remember this happening for me. If you can't find any reason that that child should have been separated from her parents, that it has to do with her, just like you said a few minutes ago, it had to do with your parents. Think about that. Think about how that shifts everything. Because if you've been living your whole life thinking with the subconscious belief that I wasn't enough, but then you're looking at it going, why wasn't I enough? And you can't find a reason, it's because there was no reason.
Yes, but she's still angry, right? So this is not the reason that I'm not good enough. It's not that.
Okay, but listen to me. She could be angry with you simply because you still have been living by that belief that you weren't enough. You're still living from that action. Like you're still, or not non-action. It's like, are you not really allowing yourself to be seen and heard in the world and whatever you're wanting to do in your goals? Because that little girl has been ruling the roost and saying, I'm not enough. Nobody's going to love me. You understand what I'm saying? Is this
Yes,
making
yes. Mm-hmm.
okay? So so do you feel like, as we're talking about this, do you feel like there's something else underneath there?
Yeah, I've really like to understand what is the real anger and how I can help her.
So the anger can be when we play small. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So the anger can be that I'm suppressing myself. I'm holding myself in. I'm keeping the tape on my mouth. I think I'm doing things to put myself out there, but in reality, I'm still holding this vibration that I'm not enough. So I'm holding
Okay.
myself small. Okay.
Yeah.
So little kids like, will you take the darn tape off my mouth? I want to play video. Okay. So the anger is with you because because you're still allowing this to rule your life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So then you have to ask, how do I get it to stop ruling my life? Well, one is just recognizing that you've been living by a belief your whole life that says I'm not enough, and you're still letting it play havoc on you. And that little kid is angry about it because she's like, no, wait, there was nothing wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
So had you ever recognized that today, that there was nothing until today, that there was nothing wrong with you, with your
I
parent?
recognized it before. Yes, that there is nothing wrong with me. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying it intellectually,
Yeah.
but have you owned it physically? Because it's one thing to have the aha, but it's another to really integrate it. And the way you integrate it is you start taking steps to let yourself shine bigger, to recognize, oh, I'm still living by that belief that I'm not enough, and to release the energy, and then to say I am enough, and ask what does that look like, and then take those steps. So are you taking those steps?
I am starting to take these steps. Yes.
Okay, good. So today, this happens a lot with people who show up and they ask, and there's a healing that's happening, is the goop with taking the tape off, the stuff I mean, it literally looked like mud coming out of your mouth, which explains why you felt stuck, right? It's
Yes.
stuck, right? It's because it's a suppression. So when you say I'm starting to take steps, that tells me that you're making the shift and that you just needed some support energetically to recognize that there was nothing wrong with you, and you know that intellectually, but now it's about releasing. So what I would encourage you to do is to talk to little Jane and ask her, and I love to write with the other hand. I love to write my thoughts and feelings and then put the pen in the other hand so it goes into my intuitive mind and let that inner child speak to you. So I like to ask that question and talk to her and say, wow, I get that you're really angry and that you have felt suppressed. And I understand it's because, in the past you took on a belief that you're not enough, but you are enough. You know that you couldn't find anything wrong with you, right? So that's
Yes,
cool,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's woohoo! That's a celebration, right? There's nothing
Yes.
wrong with me. And that's huge. So, and recognize that and celebrate it, and then say, what is it that you need to release? And it almost feels like sometimes we just need to release the energy from our body. Okay. Because it feels like you have suppressed this for so long and you've known it intellectually. In a way, a lot of times to integrate it into the body is to release it from the body. For me, and you have to decide what's right for you, is when I would feel something so deep and I felt like I couldn't get past it, I'd start writing about, I'm so angry because, and I'd let that get really tapped into my feelings, and then let the emotions come up and literally take a pillow and beat the bed. Okay. And I can remember one time, I don't remember what it was about, but I felt such a stuckness in my energy and I could feel the anger because my MO is anger. Um, and I went and I started beating the bed and I played the victim. Okay. I'm so angry because of this. I'm so angry because of this. But at the same time, I'd say thank you for the healing, which takes you out of the victim mindset and into more of an empowered, like I'm giving voice, because you
Yes.
have to give voice to the pain. I'm giving voice to the pain, but I'm celebrating that there's a healing happening. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
like, you're in my brain, you would think I was neurotic or schizophrenic. Okay. Because it's like, whoa. But by doing that and then allow the emotion, really tapping into the emotion, for me, this is what works. You have to figure out what's right for you, tapping into the emotion. And I remember this particular day and the emotions came up and it literally felt like this ball of energy came out of me I went into like these primal wells. Is that right? Yeah. And just wailing, like, whoo, and letting it all out. And when I finished and laid on the bed and collapsed, there was an emptiness that was there. It sounds bad, but it was an emptiness of that energy was gone. And then I filled myself with light. So sometimes it's like you're ready for a shift and you may not need to do anything like that, Jane. You may not need, maybe for you, you can, just do some movement and feel like you're releasing it and that's enough. I think for me, I had suppressed it so deeply and I'm such an intense person anyway, that I needed to have that kind of release. Some people are like, no, I don't want that kind of release. It's scary, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it worked for me. So you have to find what's right for you, but know that it's about now integrating it into your body. So if you're writing, you can allow the little kid inside of you to really, give voice to her feelings. Because I know you said you've done some work on it, but did you ever really talk to her and ask her how she felt and let her have a voice about her feelings? Because when I saw the tape on her mouth, it didn't feel that way.
Yeah, that's the issue, because on one hand I'm at peace with myself, and on the other I know I have this angriness in me, but it's not coming out because it's balanced with the with
Peace.
peace. Yeah.
Right. So and that's wonderful that you can, at least you can recognize it. I love the fact that you're aware, of these things. That's awesome. So make her your catalyst for the healing of the energies. Okay. Because I really did see that it was her angry. And
Yes.
that, because I even, you said earlier, I think that's the intellectual mind. I want
Yeah.
you to go into I feel. So I want you to ask her how she feels
Yeah.
and what she's felt angry about and what was hurting. Okay. So when you say what's hurting, so now that tape is completely off. She's no longer suppressed and you're connecting to her. And by doing that, you are really treating yourself as if you're worthy of being seen, heard, and valued. I've said that over and over in these calls because that is so key, right? And then that helps you move forward and getting out of that unstuck feel, or getting out of the stuck feeling. I feel like you're already going to be moving in that direction today just because of me taking the tape off and letting that stuff move out. But
Great. Yeah.
but I feel like it's now up to you to do that with her. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
really have that conversation with her. Think of yourself as being the divine parent to that little kid inside of you. And you want to meet her with compassion and kindness and forgiveness, right? I mean, this is a child who was very, very wounded because she was separated from her parents.
Yes.
And there was a lot of pain there. So acknowledge that. Tell her you're sorry that she went through that. Just by meeting her with compassion and telling her that you're so sorry, and you let her have a voice, that in itself is going to make her feel safe, to where she can feel safe to move forward with you, and that she's going to trust you. Okay. Because a lot of times our lack of trust is the lack of trust within ourselves, that that little kid inside of us is like, we go into that fight or flight and we think, why am I in that fight or flight? The adults going, what's going on? Why am I getting triggered like this? And the little girl's going, well, if you do this, I don't trust you to protect me. I don't trust you to have a voice for me. I don't trust you to love me and set boundaries. I don't trust you to make choices for me. So that's the trust you're trying to build. Okay. So by having conversations with her and talking to her, you start building that trust.
Yeah. Okay.
How does that feel for you?
It looks very difficult, but I will do it. Yeah.
It's actually not difficult. If you'll just take like 30 minutes a day and sit down, run energy, get grounded, pull that little kid up inside of you. If you don't like the journaling, just talk to her. But for me, I've just found that the journaling, especially if you're very left-brained, very analytical minded, it's sometimes hard to get into that intuitive space and allow that flow to happen. So by switching the pen to the other hand and letting her talk, even though it's going to look like chicken scratch, what it does is it takes you into that intuitive mind. Half the time you can't even read what you've written. So you might want to switch the pen back and in whatever you heard coming through your mind, write it down so you can see it clearly, so you can go back and read it. But it actually is so freeing when you do it, Jane. It's huge. I mean, if you will do it and just commit, I would like encourage you to commit for 30 days. Say, I'm going to do it 30 minutes a day for 30 days and see what happens. Okay. And just see what happens. And again, if it doesn't feel like you can do it when, with the writing, if it's just not happening for you, a lot of times for me, when I first started with the writing, I realized that I had, pictures in my mind, perfect pictures again about, oh, it needs to be written really pretty. And I got to have perfect grammar and perfect punctuation. And that was all school programming, right? And it's like, no, this is about allowing it to be a channel and just moving into my intuitive mind. So
I'm already doing the left hand writing for some things. So
good.
I'm already, yeah.
You're already there.
So I'm doing that, but it's just because sometimes I'm very intuitive. I have the inspiration and intuition, but here with her, it's really, I don't know. It's, yeah.
Well, that in itself says a lot, Jane. It just says that it's been hard because when you got abandoned in her mind by your parents, she got stuffed into the corner. And so there hasn't been that building of that relationship with her. So that's all you got to think about now, is that I am making this child feel safe. I'm going to commit to her every single day so she knows she can trust me, and that I keep loving her. And even though it's hard, just as if you had a kid who was wounded and you would just, oh, well, you're not talking to me today, so I'm never going to make an effort with you again. You would come back and reach out to the child, right? If you're in animals and an animal's been wounded, you see a lot of people fostering dogs that have been in pain and suffering, and they have to, that dog has to build trust, and the person keeps coming back and just being in a loving space. It's the same thing to that little kid inside of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All righty then. So
Thank you very much.
are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, I hope you'll come back and check in with us and let us know how that goes with you and just really commit to that because it is about you committing. If you don't commit, then she's going to still feel suppressed and you're going to
Yeah.
keep wondering, why am I stuck? It's you loving her that takes you out of that stuck energy.
Yeah. Okay. I will commit. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All righty then. Well, you can mute yourself if you just hit that little microphone on your screen and it'll mute you. So I see we have one more call. Tammy, I'm going to open up just for a second. We're already past time, but I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, if there's not enough time, that's no
That's
problem.
okay. Just real quickly.
I can just, you know what, I tend to doubt myself. I think I somewhere that's safer, to
Sure.
be in self-doubt, some fantasy that it's easier to connect. I don't ruffle people's feathers as much.
Yeah, that's the people pleaser. And the doubt comes from you not standing in your truth. Okay. So when you are in self-doubt, it's because you have been living in your head for too long, trying to please people. And so, as I said earlier today, if there's one person you're trying to please in this way, then you're questioning about this person over here, so there's this constant emotional chaos that goes on. And of course, that's going to create doubt, right? But when you can start giving yourself permission to stand in your truth, and again, you can do it by talking to the inner child and asking her, what's hurting, getting to the belief that's causing her pain and suffering, moving it out, and then saying, what is my truth? And as you stand in your truth and say, what would love look like standing in my truth? And you take action from that perspective, then the doubt starts dissipating. Okay. So the doubt is when you're letting that little kid rule the roost and the adult has left the room.
So when I do attempt to speak up for myself,
Mm-hmm.
It can be encountered, it's not favorably responded to.
Sure. So one of the things I teach in my worthiness quotient course, because it's all about worthiness, is oops, I'm hitting my table. Is about giving yourself permission to speak and remembering that your outer world is a mirror to your inner world. So if you're speaking, which is great, that because some people won't speak at all, right? So you've taken the steps of courage to speak, which is huge. But now you're still met with this wall, right? That says, okay, you're not receiving it. So if you look at what is the mirror here, it can be several things. It can be one, that even though you're giving yourself permission to speak and you're doing it, do you really have permission? And because you're filling this wall, so you go deeper and you go deeper into looking at your little inner child and you say, okay, we're hitting a wall here, we're being mirrored to us that no, this is not okay to have a difference of opinion. And
Yes.
then you ask her, you say, what's the belief you're holding on to? So you can use each one of those as an opportunity to go deeper. Because so think about speaking your voice is huge, right? So think of it as this big belief, right? About having permission to speak. And there can be all these little aspects of it. I always think of it as a paper clip stuck to this piece of metal. And so this situation is like Joe over here, you're speaking your voice and he is resisting big time. He's a gift. He's showing you that you don't really have full permission to speak yet, that there's more to heal. So you go within and you ask the little girl inside of you, what's hurting? What's the belief you're holding on to? If it's a belief that is causing you to have pain and suffering and that's causing you to attract this, it's not the truth. So you let the belief go and you ask, what is my truth? And then you say, what do I need to do to stand in this truth? And you take action. And so what now you're doing is you're moving into a high state of worthiness by taking action and listening. And then the more you move into that high vibrational state, the more people will mirror to you that they're hearing you. It doesn't mean they have to agree with you. Okay. So a lot of people think, well, if I'm speaking my truth, then you're going to agree with me. If I'm standing in my truth, then you're going to agree with me. No, no, they may not
Okay.
agree with you.
Okay.
Okay.
But would there be less likely to be a lot of backlash if I'm actually
Yes.
standing in my truth?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
And you know, another thing too here is what I
Mhm.
would say to you is sometimes, you know, you can see it as a gift over and over and over. But if you start feeling an intuition that these people that are in my life have played their part so well that I'm now recognizing that I don't need them to be in my life anymore, that's also part of it.
Okay. So, so I need to be getting more in alignment with the fact that I haven't fully given myself permission, and then seeing if, even if I do, if certain people that might be more their issue, they can't
Right.
get over.
Right. And see them as a gift. Okay. I mean, when I started saying I was a clairvoyant, ooh, you want to talk about people, if I spoke anything about intuition or what I saw, and they'd just go, I mean, I saw my sister's face glaze over and get up and walk away.
Wow.
And, talk about rejection. Right. And so I had to get to a place of going, okay, well, you can reject me, but I'm not going to reject myself. And so that became the gift, was that my
Wow.
sister mirrored to me religious programming I had about being a clairvoyant. So I just kept going deeper and deeper. And then it was not just her, it was other people that I live in the Bible Belt, and and I'd have other people say things to me, and I would find myself at times being very scared. I mean, it was a huge thing, but as I went deeper and deeper and deeper, I just got more and more grounded in my truth, and I kept having courage to speak my voice. And then if somebody else showed up, I'd be, okay, there's another gift.
Wow.
Right. So the key is don't stop speaking your voice. Keep doing it, knowing that if somebody shows up and there is resistance, then there's a gift. And what's really cool is when you can get to a place where if there is resistance and you don't react to it negatively, that you're in neutrality and you can look at them and have compassion for their fear, then you've worked through it.
Okay. What do you see in my energy field related to this?
Okay, let me look real fast, and then we're going to have to jump because I have another appointment. So let me look at this really fast. This is a funny picture. So I see a picture where, the drum majorettes, where they're like this and they're out there dancing on the football field.
Uh-huh.
It's almost, well, it's not even the majorette, it's the drum major, the one with the big hat and the baton like this.
Okay.
And they're leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this has any relevance to you because it's just a visual. That's you. I want you to think of yourself as that person. Okay. So instead of having judgment about having a voice, I want you to think of yourself as being the leader. You are guiding the whole band onto
Wow.
the field.
Wow.
Okay. So the key here is for you to let go of guilt and judgment for being that pioneer. That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big one. But I want you to get grounded in that, because think of how happy the people around you would be if they felt the freedom to just be in their voice and not to be angry or not to feel like they couldn't be heard or whatever. Okay. So I want you to just really think about, look at the wings I'm giving everyone else. As I give myself my wings, I'm showing them how to do the same.
Yeah, I would like to bust out of it. There's like this surge of wanting to bust out of it, but something else is keeping me from.
It's cords. I'm seeing cords. I'm seeing cords to all the people around you, and it's just old family dysfunction. So I would invite you to just cut the cords and say, I'm not going to be in the dysfunction anymore. I'm not going to be a part of this. That's all it feels like it is. It's what you were raised in. It's what you saw, it's what you've done for years.
Mhm.
And it's about recognizing I'm cutting those cords because I'm not serving anyone by sticking with them. Okay. So think of it this way. Conforming is performing. Performing is a low worthiness quotient.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to get out of the conforming and the performing and move into being unique, standing in your truth, and being a pioneer. And that takes you into a high state of worthiness.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
I just have to do it.
the key is really understanding that you already have the courage. Look what you're doing already. So just keep thinking of, I am courageous. I am so courageous. And keep saying that to yourself. I am so courageous because I'm leading my family and whoever it is that you deal with. I'm leading them out of dysfunction. And whether they follow is up to them. But
Right.
I'm choosing to break these cords.
Yeah, I'm courageous. I want to be courageous. Sometimes I'm
No.
courageous.
You are courageous. I want you to say, I am courageous, not I want to be courageous, because that's putting it in the future and it's not claiming it as it is. So your goal is to say, I am courageous. And I want you to start saying that daily. I am courageous because
I am courageous.
because I am a pioneer for my family.
Because I am a pioneer for my family. Well, they sure need it. So
there. See the gift you're giving them? And I mean, I just look at it as those family members. They are these beautiful souls playing their part so that those of us who are the pioneers can really step up and, just give thanks to them. Everyone who resists you, give thanks, because they're showing you that if you're not in neutrality, it's because they're showing you a belief you're holding on to. And it gives you an opportunity to go within, clear it out, stand in your truth, and become more courageous.
okay,
All right,
well, thanks for
guys.
your example of how you do it with your sister. That's great.
It was a hard one, let me tell you. Yeah. So it says, thank you for the stories and for the healing and the theme of the meditation. You're so welcome, Anne. Well, I'm going to jump, you guys, because I have to go, but thank you for being here. I'm sending you all love. Let's just real quickly, just say thank you. Thank you for this healing. I want you to visualize whatever you got from today that you're being guided to step into. I want you to visualize that you've already done it and you are celebrating. And you can even say to yourself, I'm a courageous woman leader of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because that's what you are when you stand in your truth and have the courage to do so. You are a courageous woman leader of love. I am a courageous woman leader of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everybody, you have a beautiful one. We'll see you here next week. Same time, same place. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Uh-huh.